Now, you can't live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Vanilla smoked sea salt seasoning is for seafood. The tarragon and fennel bring out the natural sweetness in seafood. I also use it in rice dishes, on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
It was a monumental game for A&M and Tampa. It was a monumental game. Somebody had to lose, and thank God it was them this time.
We knew it was going to be a battle. Look at Jake Ave's record. 202 and 36, I think, some off-the-wall figures.
And nobody would play him because they didn't want to take a chance of getting beat. But the truth of it is,
over 46,000 tickets. Blacks were sitting in the east stands. Whites were sitting in the west stands. And the score wound up 34-28.
The only thing we proved that we wasn't inferior, that we were not inferior, and we were not afraid.
For one night, for 160 minutes, we was better than them.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
Q Time is our classic Atlanta soul food restaurant located in the historic West End. Q Time Soul Food is a family business started by Fred and Christine Crenshaw. Come on in, relax, and sink your chops into our tantalizing, mouth-watering, distinctive soul food with a twist, the Q Time way. 1120 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, or call your order in at 404-758-2881. Do you miss your mama's cooking? Then come on down to Q Time, an Urban Passport member.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball, So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Well, maybe not. I'm going solo tonight, so we're going to ask for a little more interaction for part of the show with you all. But welcome to episode 133 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. the show that is covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports, for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture and HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Cavil, along with my co-hosts, Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. As I said, tonight, I'm going solo dolo. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to our KSWH 1230 AM studios with Texas Radio Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. Today's show will be a good one, as we'll be discussing the latest HBCU news, which most of y'all know that means we're looking at the HBCU's sports game of the week, which happens to be the SWAC Championship game. That's the 2021 spring SWAC Championship football game. We'll also have our guest, Dr. Charles McClelland, the commissioner of the SWAC, will be on to check us out and give us some updates. Let me give some shout outs before we get too far into the show. We want to give a big shout out to Chad Cooper, Michael Ford jumping in here, Eddie Hunt, always showing much love, like much of those that listen in the lab listeners, as I say. Ricky Burton, Alicia Ray checking in from Pine Bluff. Go Golden Lions. Yes. Lion Pride is all there. I like it. Keith Martin, ready for the lecture. D, I love representing Jackson State. I know that's right. Kay Johnson, good evening. Time for the lecture lab fans. No doubt about it, as we're talking about what's going on. And I want to say a shout out especially to Charles Bishop and Mike Washington, as they are taking care of business and taking care of family. I certainly understand and appreciate their thoughts. Karen Griffin, Tuskegee in the house via, Southern Cal is in the house. Go ahead, Karen. And I appreciate that email information you sent. I should have known you were out there from the Cali when you sent that information. Yeah, that's some good stuff to think about. Wendy Jenkins Bishop, hope all is well. Prayers for you and the family in terms of what you're dealing with. Stay strong. Kay Johnson, inside the HBCU Sports Lab, are working for the Unicorn. Lag fanatics want to know, who is the Unicorn? I don't know, but I'll give you some other latest and greatest of what we do know, courtesy of HBCU Game Day. I can tell you that Connell Maynard is no longer on the list for Southern. I don't know. I'm sure you didn't call him the Unicorn, but you heard the information that came out there in regards to Connell Maynard. Well, guess what? He's inked a 4-year contract extension to stay with Alabama A&M Bulldogs. So I'm sure those Bulldog fans out there are very happy, particularly like Twin. And, we had the Velvet Teddy Bear on there in terms of that. What's going on? Got a guest in here now. I'm pulling from the back. This is our student, Isaiah Thornton. I want to give him a couple of minutes, give me his thoughts on this big game. We always looking at the generational divide. Isaiah's been in the background in a lot of ways in regards to what he's able to do in terms of giving you some of that great video that you get on Instagram, cutting it up for me. So as soon as he unmutes his mic, I'm going to get him on here and say a couple of things real quick in regards to his general overall thought on the game. And then today we're going to ask folks to put it on the line. We're going to ask them what is the score. Obviously, we won't do that to the commissioner, but we might tease him with a little bit. Then I'm going to ask, before we get too far along, I'm going to ask Roy to come from behind the camera. We're going to put him on the spot. We'll give him a minute to get all that in there. Let me go to Roy Thornton, in terms of Isaiah Thornton. How's it going, Isaiah?
It's going good, Good.
Well, tell everybody who you are, what you represent.
Oh, I'm Isaiah Thornton, broadcast journalism major here at Texas Southern University. And I've been a part of the show since 2018. So
man, crazy. It's 2021. Time flies. Yeah, when you were just literally a tiger cub, I guess we would say. Now you're a full-grown tiger and ready to roar as you're graduating. But it's my understanding that you're going to stick with us a little bit and go to grad school.
Right. That's the case for right now. Yes, sir.
and you're going to come over there to the MS in Sports Studies and Sports Leadership is the plan. So we're glad that we had a little recruiting nature in there. So that's good. But let's get back to the business. And I'm going to give a couple of more people a shout out on here. Keep them coming. Carlton Washington. Ree is on here. Dwight Moore. As we talked about, Michael Ford, we shout out Chad as he continues to make sure he get it done. That's Chad Cooper for you all that don't know. Kay Johnson says she loves the fact that SWAC Commissioner is going to jump on and mix it up with us. John Richardson, representing Alabama A&M. I like, okay, we got the Golden Lions in here. We got the Bulldogs. They representing. There must something be big going on this weekend. For those folks to show up like this, I like it. William E. Davis checking us out. Jerome Jeep Sutton is always in the house representing FAMU and the band across HBCU landscape, particular. You know the band over there in FAMU, March 100. Wendy, we shouted out her. Curry Halliburton, this is my classmate, 89er as we like to call them back there at Waco Independent School District and Waco High School. Just to give a couple of more. Keep them coming as we will give shout outs to those that are in here. Shirley Sales is in the house. With that, Isaiah, what are your general thoughts on the game?
My general thoughts on the game. I think it's going to be a doozy. I really do. I've been excited about this for the past 2 weeks. And I just feel like Skylar Perry and Aquill Glass are going to bring the offense. They're going to bring the offense out. The defense is going to be playing hard. So I'm really excited for the game.
So in terms of your experience, you got to go down to see a media day. Haven't had a SWAC championship game experience, but if you get into the grad program, we're going to make sure we add that to your bucket list, your early bucket list, to go do a SWAC championship game and check all that out. And so you can really see and get a feeling versus what you see on television. Any other thoughts that you want to share in terms of the matchup coming up this week? Ian?
I think you got two head coaches who have wanted to prove something. So with Connell Maynard, he's had a great track record of building up programs. And then you got Doc Gamble, a young, I wouldn't say young, but just young and coaching experience coming out here and proving that he can, dominate the West. I jokingly say this, but he's the state champ of Louisiana. And so, he's coming out here. He's proving everybody wrong. He's got this in the middle of the road team known as, Arkansas Pine Bluff that people weren't really respecting, but now they're respecting. So it's going to be fun.
No doubt about it. I like that. You can learn real quick how to throw a little salt out there and something like that. But I'm going to put you on the spot now. Enough of all that. This is what we want people to tell. And we want you to jump out there first and do it. And then we're going to get all the people, all the lab lecture listeners out there. We're going to ask them also, what are their final scores? So we're going to kick it off with you. Who do you think is going to win, and what is the score you provide?
You know what? I'm going to go with, and since I'm from Pittsburgh, Texas, that's in Northeast Texas, I'm going with Pine Bluff, Arkansas Pine Bluff. Because every time I'm in Pittsburgh, I get the UAPB advertisement, hey, come to Pine Bluff, come be a Golden Lion, come be all that. And they've really proven that they're the best team in the West. And they've also played, with just one more game other than Alabama A&M. So they're 4-0, Alabama A&M's 3-0. But I'm going with Pine Bluff 28-24. I believe in Skylar Perry. I believe in Doc Gamble. His last name is Gamble, so I got to gamble on him. I'm going with UAPB to the fullest.
I like that. Good information there. So you see the game a little lower scoring than many people. And you're also sticking with your Western Division bloodlines in terms of coming from the West Division. So you think it stays, it comes back to the West, I should say, as Alcorn has dominated from the Eastern Division. You say the SWAC championship is coming back to the West. That'll be interesting to see. Any final thoughts that you want to give the lab listeners in the lecture?
Let's just enjoy this last final SWAC spring game. And then, 2021 fall, hey, we're only 3 months away.
Man, slow down, man. Let's get through the game. We're going to jump on there. We'll give you some time to shine next week. We got plenty of time to talk about the fall 2021. But as you see that, nothing in there in terms of what's going on there. So I want to thank you for your time, Isaiah,
Yes, sir.
reaching out and stuff like that. Looks like we got Charles, the commissioner, on here. So we're going to save Roy's update for a little later. So with that, this is Dr. Ville with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll have the interview ready for the commissioner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. That's Dr. Charles McClelland. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We'll be right back. This is Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
Talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention.
This is Dr. Ville with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We have our interview with the commissioner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. That's Dr. Charles McClelland. Keep the scores coming as you are doing your predictions. We're going to make sure we shout some of those out. You heard what Isaiah said, student intern from Texas Southern University. He's keeping it. He's saying it's staying in the West in terms of the side that he represents. So it's going from the East to the West, in his opinion. Dwight Moore says A&M 31, UAPB 27. Michael Ford says A&M 42, UAPB 35. Karen Griffin says UAPB by 14. Jamie Walker, Alabama A&M 34, Pine Bluff 21. Kay Johnson, Pine Bluff 27, Alabama A&M 24. Yes, keep them coming. We're not going to ask the commissioner that question. He has to stay neutral in this, so that wouldn't be fair to him. But I thought he'd get a kick out of that as we get that going. With that, let me jump in here. Without further ado, welcome to the show, or welcome back to the show, I should say.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
My pleasure. So with that, let's just jump right into it. How are you doing? How are things going for you right now?
Doing well. Getting close to kickoff. A couple of days away. So the team is either there, boots on the ground, or in transit. So we're looking forward to Saturday, 2 p.m., ESPN2. Let's get it started.
So you come all the way from literally being a fan, a student fan in the conference. Really before that, as you grew up, as you tell a lot of people in terms of your family. And then obviously going through the athletic director ranks, VP of athletics, and now the commissioner. During any of that time when you were getting prepared for big games and things of that nature, what type of feeling did you have in those interactions?
Sense of nervousness, sense of anticipation. There's a lot on the line when it comes to championships. Some institutions, very few, get an opportunity to compete for multiple championships. So whenever you get an opportunity to compete, it's always special. But there's definitely a sense of nervousness that I always felt, but also a sense of excitement, knowing that you're at the highest level within the Southwestern Athletic Conference on the biggest stage. And football championships are hard to win. So let's make no mistake about it. Alabama A&M, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, both champions of their division. There can only be one SWAC champion. And again, these football championships are hard to win, as you can see. Alcorn has been on a run, but that run is going to stop this Saturday, May 2nd, and we will crown a new champion of the SWAC.
No doubt about it. Yeah, I've been through those travails of trying to seek a championship as a alumni, and as you said, they're hard to come by. It looks like the Braves have been spoiled a little bit. And then, as you said, though, they made a choice from the administration, and now they have to sit back, and everybody else gets a chance to do it, and it's come down to two teams. Follow-up question in regards to that. As a commissioner, do you get those same feelings, or now do you get to sit back and now you have other feelings that you're dealing with, making sure everything is working out from the operational and game management type side and leadership perspective?
Yeah, sure, the same feeling, but it's to put the game on more so than wanting to win the game. So it's a win for the conference if the game goes off and it goes off smoothly and we're able to overcome all of the challenges that we have. So same level of excitement, same level of anticipation, very proud and humbled to be the person that gets the opportunity to crown the champion. So still butterflies, still a lot of nervous energy. Winning a championship, hosting a championship, to be very honest with you, it's the same level of preparation. So I'm just excited. We could have pulled the plug on this spring season. We decided to stay the course, talked to several student athletes, several administrators, several coaches across all of our sports. And the one thing that we get from all of them is a sincere level of gratitude to say, thank you for giving us this opportunity, especially when you crown a champion. That's a once in a lifetime, maybe, twice in a lifetime opportunity that you have at the highest level. So we wanted to stay the course, and we look forward to hosting this championship so we can crown a champion.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington and Charles Bishop are out on assignment, and we're interviewing Dr. Charles McClelland, the Southwestern Athletic Conference Commissioner, I should say. With that, I want to stick on that thought process. Going back, when you were taking in all this information, COVID-19, the CDC guidelines, how do you feel things have went this season? What were some of the more positive things that you thought took place that you really learned and probably going to find a way to stick with as you move forward? And then maybe one or two things that went in a different direction that you really would like to see change because of what you've learned during this process?
Well, I don't think that we had many surprises in the spring. We had a great level of preparation from what we learned from other conferences in the fall. I've said this time and time again, we have a really good relationship with the Southeastern Conference and Commissioner Greg Sankey. So we have an opportunity to have several commissioners on a call on a weekly basis. And then we narrow that down on Fridays with a smaller group. So we learned a lot from the SEC. We learned a lot from the Sun Belt in the fall semester. I think one of the biggest challenges, obviously, that you have to overcome is the stoppages. Some of them we knew on Tuesday, some we knew on Wednesday, some we knew on Thursday, and others, we got word on Friday. When it comes to rescheduling of games, we had 2 weeks within our schedule to reschedule games. We stuck with that. And we rescheduled the games that we could. There were some questions as to, well, if this team had an open week and that team had an open week, why didn't you make them play? Well, we did not make them play because the medical advisory committee said that was not within the best interest. What happens if we force two teams to play, someone catches COVID, now the entire season is done? So it's kind of a 50-50 proposition. So we made the choice up front to have those 2 weeks where we can reschedule games. And if those games could be made up, they would be made up. So in a short and condensed spring season, there wasn't a lot of room to make those maneuvers. So, and again, we picked that up from the SEC. We picked that up from the Sun Belt, and a lot of people don't understand. Maybe they do understand. Maybe they don't realize the complexities of having these games to be played. In a lot of instances, it's just not, well, these two teams are not playing and put them together within a week's notice. There's a lot that goes into putting these games on. There's a lot that goes into testing. some teams are coming off of quarantine. Although they are available that week, they might not be at full strength. From a competitive standpoint, do you put those two teams together? So a lot of the information that we made our decisions on really came from the medical advisory group. So they were not unilateral decisions. They were not just strictly competitive decisions. They were decisions that had a lot to do with the health and safety and the overall process of trying to keep, the season intact. It was difficult early to try to figure out what games we thought would make a difference. The season had to play out. So we stuck with the philosophy of scheduling games in the weeks that we had available and then trying to reschedule those as we saw fit. We had just gotten advisement from some of the people that we talked to within those leagues that played, as well as the medical advisory committee, because we don't have charter planes. We don't have some of the resources that they have, where if you see it on TV, they can instantaneously make a game happen in 2 or 3 days. That simply wasn't an option in a lot of instances within the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
No doubt about it. This is Dr. Charles McClelland, the Southwestern Athletic Conference Commissioner, in with us at Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I know you really get excited a lot of times when you get to crown the champion and literally hand over a trophy to the coaches, but more importantly is about the athletes that you've seen grown and put it on the line. And because of what you were able to do, not just with the football championship game, but all the sports that you were able to push in the spring, and many of those sports have crowned champions, and you have a couple of left. It doesn't end with the football championship, i.e. baseball, softball, as well as this upcoming week after the championship game, you got outdoor track and field, both men's and women's. But you have the accolades where players get players of the year. In football, it's offensive, defensive, newcomer of the year, special teams. And then you have your first, second team accolades that you get for a lot of these players in the tournaments and during the season. Talk a little bit about why that resonates in such a large way with you.
Because it's recognition of a lifetime. You get the opportunity to tell your kids and your grandkids that I was the best at my profession at the time, and that was the sport of football, or track, or baseball, or soccer, or tennis. You might very well get opportunity to be a SWAC Hall of Famer based upon what you've done in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. I think Akil Glass has made a very good, case to say 10 years from now when I'm eligible, I think I should be a SWAC Hall of Famer. I'm the player of the year in the SWAC. Hey, and I got another opportunity in the fall. And I guarantee you, when we come back in the fall, Akil Glass is going to be the student athlete that will be the spotlight of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So it means a lot. The freshman of the year quarterback from Alabama State, and you can go on and on and on. There are raises that are associated with this as well. Coach of the year at Arkansas Pine Bluff. I don't want to put pressure on the Pine Bluff people, but I'm sure he's going to be going asking some questions after this, saying, hey, you got a coach of the year. What are you going to do for me? So all of this is important, not only on the coaching side, but on the student athlete side, and as well as the fan side. Again, we took a lot of criticism up front about playing in the spring. There were a lot of leagues that dropped off. And honestly, we're the only HBCU league that had a full spring. It created a lot of challenges for us, but we stayed the course. And again, to be able to see the joy, to be able to see the energy, it was our obligation to our student athletes to give them the opportunity to participate.
Oh, great points you make there. I appreciate you sharing that insight. And to your point, Akil Glass is not necessarily done yet. He has a big game to play Saturday, and no telling what he might add to his resume in terms of that game. And I believe the Bulldog fans want to see that. And then, as you point out, he has another season. So no telling what that will mean. And as you talk about the coaches, Doc Gamble may be wrestling through some stuff. The news came out with Connell Maynard getting a 4-year extension, which is an example of what you're talking about, how much is on the line in regards to some of these games. So great points that you make in regards to what goes on in these games. So let's take it to the SWAC championship game. You did a great interview in regards to, at least in my opinion, in regards to HBCU game day, I should say, with the reasons of how it came together. But if you would talk a little bit about, in terms of Jackson, Mississippi, in terms of that city, and literally once the decision was made to look at a neutral site, why Jackson in regards to how much of that is based on relationships? Because in a lot of ways, when you put these championship games on the ledger, there's a big component that goes to it. In this case, it was too short of a point. So talk about whether relationships are big in that, or was it just something about Jackson, the city, that made it happen?
No, relationships did not make the site choice. It was really process of elimination. The three choices that we had, the other two didn't work, Memphis and Birmingham, so it was Jackson. Clearly, we were able to call Jackson State. You know, Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium is owned by Jackson State, so we made the call to Vice President Ashley Robinson and said, hey, we need the stadium. They were very gracious and said, Charles, we're turning everything over to the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So again, I saw some of the social media posts and some of the commentary about, well, we don't want to go to Jackson. We don't want to, you know, Dion is bringing this to Jackson. It's my understanding Dion won't even be in the state of Mississippi on Saturday, nor did we call Dion, nor did we consult with Dion about coming to Jackson State. It literally was the closest that we could have in the middle between the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff and Alabama A&M. And because Jackson State turned over the stadium to us, then it allowed us to work with the city to try to do some things. And not to get too deep into Jackson State's, the way that they run the stadium, but everything at that stadium is contracted out. It's not Jackson State people that take the tickets. It's not Jackson State people that controls traffic. It's not Jackson State people that roam the sidelines. All of those things are contracted out. So once Jackson State said, hey, we're turning over Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium to you, we had to start working with all of the different entities. We had to work with the mayor's office, with police, work with the mayor's office and getting in contact with the sheriffs and the state trooper, with the city services to do trash, with the third party to take tickets. So, you know, again, I would like to say hats off and thank you to Jackson State University. They had a lot to do with it, but that was to say, okay, SWAC, we're going to allow you to come into our stadium at no charge. Because again, you know, if we had to go, I heard some people say, well, why don't you go to Houston and play the game? We could have gone to Houston. $600,000 later, we probably would have been bankrupt again. The whole reason why we moved to, you know, on campus. So, and again, you talked about having to turn this game around in literally a week and a half. So having contact, assets, resources close to Jackson where we can deploy those assets and resources helped us as well. So Jackson was the third option, but it turned out to be the best option. It's large enough for us to open it up. Obviously, we have both bands that will be coming. We've increased it to 50% capacity. We've said very clearly, once all bills are paid, we're going to be able to split the profits with the two institutions so both can share in the profits. And at the end of the day, we just felt like that was our only option, given the set of circumstances that we described earlier, once we made that decision that the neutral location was the route that we were going to go.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. We're doing an interview with the Commissioner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, Dr. Charles McClelland. You would stick with us. We're going to take a quick break, bring you back, and do the final 15 minutes and close everything up and let you on your way. Want to dig a little bit into the financial numbers in regards to why, again, just for those that may have not caught it the first time you talked about it last year in regards of the games and the decisions about bringing it to campus. What's the benefits of that? So we want to review that a little bit. And then we want to talk about some of the construction around the game in terms of operational platforms that people may not be as familiar with that's important contextually. Then I know we have an update on the bands. So I want to make sure for those that hadn't heard about that, update in regards to the bands participating in the 2021 spring SWAC championship football game. With that, this is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Stick with us. We'll be right back to finish up the interview. So don't go anywhere. This is Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Sugar Shack talking about. They compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. I got a little chuckle out of this. I hope he wasn't talking to me, he was talking to other folks, because I agree with him, but I think this one I have to get out there. It's a great comment in context. This is Dwight Moore. They better stop questioning the professionalism of my commissioner. The business will be handled in the best interest of our conference. We have quality leadership and we need to start appreciating it more than we do conferences that have nothing to do with us. Well said, and we'll leave that one right there and get back into business. With that, Dr. Charles McClelland, Commissioner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, wanted to get in a little bit as you talked about and you shared before, but for those that may have not called it, that asked the question about going to a central location, particular city of Houston or Atlanta for that matter, in that case, or regularly going to Jackson or going to Memphis or Birmingham. What are the financial numbers that went into the decision and let you know what a city would have to put on the table to really pique the interest of yourself and, for that matter, the SWAC presidents and chancellors in regards to moving it back to a central location versus having it on campus?
Multiple millions of dollars. We've expanded our brand and we've expanded the want of entities wanting and I put one in quotations, wanting us to come and participate. Our brand has expanded and on campus has done so. And let's, be real about it. The decision to go to campus was a financial decision. It wasn't a competitive decision. And the decision, coming to this championship game in Jackson, the conference office is paying for the bands to come, hotel and lodging. We're paying for the cheerleaders to come, hotel and lodging. We're paying for the football teams to come, hotel and lodging. We're having to put on that football game. We're having to pay everything, including food. And, so it's a massive product to put on. So the campuses, they have the ability to keep and maintain that revenue. Wasn't going to be a whole lot of revenue in this COVID environment because we have all of the restrictions. So I think that, as we talked about when both sides came together because of the issues that we had with making the determination. And again, I firmly state this. I had made my decision. There was going to be a decision made. I think both institutions said for the betterment and the thing that's most fair is let's look at a central, neutral location. As a conference commissioner, I'm obligated to listen to my membership. I'll go back to, the comment, and I appreciate the comments and I appreciate all of the support that I have, but I also appreciate the criticism. That makes me better. I look at the criticism, I take the criticism at heart, I go back and I look at the decisions, and I will say this. There are some decisions that I made and I come back and say, Charles, that was a stupid decision. But if I don't look at the criticisms, if I don't take those into account, it will not make me a better commissioner. I'm not perfect and I don't make all of the right decisions, but I guarantee you every decision that I make is going to be I'm making it for the betterment of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Even if it's the wrong decision, it's me trying to promote and do better. So I don't have issues with criticisms. I understood the criticism, but at the same time, there are a lot of things that goes on internally that the public might not know and might not get an opportunity to know. So the criticisms will keep me honest, but also the praises will equally be accepted as well. So I have no issue with somebody not understanding, not believing, not buying into, and not following the decisions of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Again, that keeps me on my toes and it keeps me better. And I understand it. So I can take it. It's not the first time. I can tell you, Prairie View and Texas Southern trained me well to accept criticism. So I didn't go home and cry that night, Dr. Cavil, that's for sure.
While I haven't been in the back room for all those meetings, I've had the privilege for some of those meetings, and you're right, it can get tough in some of that. And to be honest with you, when I took one of my first roles in a leadership capacity, somebody that I leaned on heavily was yourself. And one of the first things you told me, go with the guidelines, the policies, and the rules. Be true to yourself and understand that the criticism is coming, right or wrong, indifferent or whatever. It's just part of the job. So you got to understand that. And I took that, and it has really lived with me in a long way. So I just want to say appreciate that while I have you here talking about that. But let's get back to it. In terms of some more analysis in terms of the game, the bands, it's my understanding during the media press conference that you had this past Monday that you announced that both bands will be in attendance at the game. Can you give some updates on that?
Yeah, both bands will be in attendance. They will not be on the field, but both will be in the stands. And instead of the marching and the precision at halftime, they'll do that halftime show from the stands. But given where we are with the pandemic, given where we are with the vaccinations, and the fact that, and let me rewind it back. When the decision was made with the bands, again, I've always said no decision that we make is made in a vacuum. That decision was made out of a request from the membership. From the Southwestern Athletic Conference standpoint, we rely on the membership to kind of tell us what direction that they want to go. So again, I'm commissioner. I can take it all. But the membership had this discussion. The membership was the one that voted which direction that they want to go. When it comes to the SWAC championship game, we realized that there was a need and a want for the bands to participate. The bands wanted to participate. So what we said was, you now are considered a tier 1 individual. And Dr. Cavil, I can tell you, there was a whole bunch of, one of my favorite commercials is, you're getting old, and, here's how you know you're getting old. And the lady has the sign up there that says, no fussing, no cussing, and no back talking. We got all three when we told them what they had to do in order to show up. The testing that was required, the travel that was required, the distance, social distancing. And to be able to put that on those bands week in and week out, to travel was going to be astronomical from a financial standpoint and almost impossible from a logistics standpoint. For this one game, because we're paying, we're able to put all of those things together, and hopefully we can have a fun-filled Saturday on May 2nd.
I think that's a big treat, not only for obviously the teams, but their fans, as well as those individuals outside of athletics, which is, I know, something that you are looking at with the Southwestern Athletic Conference, is really building a bridge between athletics and academics, which has always been something true to you. But in terms of the programs that the conference has, and expanding to bringing in FAMU and Bethune-Cookman. So as we take it off of a little bit of the game itself, another decision was made with Birmingham Park board in regards to moving the baseball game to Madison in terms of Alabama and playing in that minor league ballpark. If you could tie that a little bit about that in terms of that decision and why that's important, but even more so in regards to how all that came to being as you move the conference forward.
Well, the Madison baseball facility is an $80 million new built park with all of the amenities, with picnic benches. You can sit out there, have a picnic, and watch the game. They have suites, they have all of the amenities. When we decided to leave New Orleans, again, it was a membership decision. The baseball coaches had some issues with the playing surface. So they were saying, hey, we want to be able to kind of upgrade that. So as we looked across the spectrum, we got a bid from Jackson with Smith Wills with the caveat that they were going to make certain upgrades. The stadium isn't quite there yet, so we had to look at student athlete safety as well as some COVID protocol issues that we had. And we wanted our student athletes to be in the best and the safest environment. Smith Wheels isn't quite there yet, so they need more time, so we had to move it. And what a move. Again, an $80 million baseball facility in Madison, Alabama. We think that it's going to be a great baseball tournament. And again, as we said, we're going to put our student athletes first. We want our student athletes to be the best and have the best. As we said, we started with giving them Tiffany's trophies, and now you get an opportunity to play at one of the best minor league baseball facilities in the nation.
No doubt about it. I might have to put some extra funds in there when you order your next Tiffany trophy. You might have to order 2. I just want one so I can put it up here, make sure I'm official with everybody. So we'll see. I don't know if my pockets can afford it, but we'll look at the pricing on it because I know you don't cut no costs. And going with Tiffany, I'm not sure you can cut the cost of that. Last question.
We get a discount.
On my side, and I'll give you the thank you. I'll give you the floor to share anything that you need to share. But if you would, I know we want to get through this season, particularly this championship game. But if you could give us a little insight, things will turn quickly in terms of the fall 2021 with the expansion of the conference with Bethune-Cookman University, Florida A&M University. In terms of that, a lot of eyes will be on football, but this is for the in-conference. I mean, you have a great programs coming in, I should say, with volleyball. Then you turn into basketball in men's and women's, and then obviously with the baseball in terms of these programs and all the other additional sports. We have the SWAC championship in track and field down the street in Prairie View next week. Imagine bringing in all this speed from Florida in terms of FAMU and Bethune-Cookman during the track season. That's going to be amazing itself. But I ask that if you would give us a little insight in terms of what people can expect as they get excited with this big game, and then everything kind of closes down for a little bit, closing out on the spring 2021, looking into the fall. What are some expectations? What can people think about? Or just plain, how excited are you about the 2021 fall season?
Yeah, in my estimation, you can expect bigger and better. Hopefully COVID continues to subside, and you look at, you can start with football. There's going to be 2 classics every week. I mean, whether they're called classics or not, there are going to be 2 games that's just going to be off the chart as far as attendance and interest. So we're excited, but we spent a fair amount of time over the last 2 months just coalescing all 12 institutions and getting these schedules together. We were able to complete football scheduling. We were able to complete basketball scheduling. We've just completed baseball scheduling. We've completed softball scheduling. Volleyball we've hit some road bumps, but we had a call today and we got a consensus on volleyball. So trying to coalesce all of these schedules and get them together so when we have a fall, we're ready to go without many hiccups. So there's still a lot of work to be done to kind of get us on the even playing field as far as scheduling and traveling and things of that nature. But I look for a very exciting fall, starting with soccer. You're adding FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, already existing powerhouses in those sports. You talk about track speed, but you look at where FAMU and Bethune-Cookman were in their rankings, their Commissioner Cup rankings and the championships that they won. They're coming in here saying, we're looking to compete right now and win championships right now. And we were very strategic in saying, we want you to compete right now. There is no grace period. There is no probationary period. You coming in day one and you're competing for SWAC championships for the opportunity to go to the NCAA. So I think what you have already thought about and have the anticipation about is going to be what we're all about. And that's going to be excessive competition. And I use that word excessive. And I use that word in a positive format. I don't care what sport. I don't care where it is or what stage it's going to be in. It's going to be hands down the best that you've seen SWAC has put in quite a long time.
No doubt about it. 1 second, I just want one final question with that. This is Dr. Bill inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington, Charles Bishop are out on assignment. We're interviewing Dr. Charles McClelland, Commissioner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. We're going to take one quick break, one final statement, and then we'll let you out of here. So stick with us as we finalize this interview with the Commissioner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Sugar Chateau Desserts is a specialty bakery located in the Charlotte, North Carolina metro area. We will create delicious and one-of-a-kind treats for any occasion. Sugar Chateau is currently shipping cakes in a jar, offering a variety of different flavors in a single-serve container that can help you celebrate in accordance with social distancing. Place your orders today by calling 803-526-7895 or visiting sugarchateaudesserts.com.
Talking about, they compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want to law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention.
100 years, 1920, Charles, and you gave me a chance to do a small commission of the SWAC 100 years in counting HBCU athletic and academic excellence. Obviously, there was a big plan of a celebration this past summer for 100 years. Because of COVID, it had to be canceled. But in 2020, the Southwestern Athletic Conference celebrated 100 years of athletic and academic history. The Southwestern Athletic Conference formed in September 10th, 1920 in Houston from humble beginnings as a grand experiment with 5 historically Black college university member institutions, 4 private, 1 public. The founding member institutions of the Southwestern Athletic Conference include Bishop College, now defunct Paul Quinn College, Sam Houston College, now Houston-Tillotson University, Wiley College, as well as 1 public institution, Prairie View State Normal Industrial College, now Prairie View A&M University, in the Southwest region of the United States, with a 6th member joining a year later in Texas College. What are your thoughts going from 100 years in 2020 to 100 years in 2021 with expansion? That's the final question I had for you, is just to culminate this history and give you a chance to celebrate 100 years and provide your final statement.
I think it's remarkable. I think when we go 100 years from now, the same way that you read what happened in 1920, the historians would write 2020 with the addition of FAMU, then the addition of Bethune-Cookman, with the conference office getting its first home in 100 years. So I think 2020 is extremely significant, not as significant as 1920. But I said this before, there are a lot of major corporations. There's multi-billion-dollar entities that have not lasted 100 years. So those founding fathers that put this thing together, they really knew what they were doing. Look at all of the individuals that we've educated through the wonderful sport of athletics. Look at all of the individuals that we, coalesce together. Look at what the traditions have been made. I mean, it's been an exciting history, and I'm humbled to be a part of the Southwestern Athletic Conference office staff, and hopefully we can continue the forward trend of the SWAC being a strong league and continue to get stronger. And, Dr. Cavil, I would be remiss if I didn't say this. I'm sitting up looking at the draft, and I realize this spring draft won't have a lot of HBCU players, but I think this is a good time on this draft day to let everybody know that the SWAC has a very, very good relationship with the NFL. And we've created a program to where we're going to be able to coalesce all 12 schools. We've asked them for everybody on their campus that they think, the coaches think, are draft gradable for the NFL. And we now have a pipeline with the NFL where we have a third party that's coming in, and they're going to get all of that film and coalesce all of that package together for all 32 NFL teams so they can start to put SWAC players on their watch list. So I go back to Akil Glass. He's coming back for a fall semester. We're going to get all of his spring film, and we're going to get in whatever film he has from spring on and get it to all 32 teams so they can have him on their radar. So it's just not a combine that they get a chance to see him. He's on their radar now, and we're going to do that for all 12 schools. So we're excited about that partnership with the NFL. And those are the type of things that we think is part of our responsibility, not only to continue to grow the conference, but put our student athletes in position to go out and do well. So again, we have a lot more work to do, but we're going to continue to try to bring different and innovative ideas to help advance our conference and our league.
No doubt about it. Thank you for your time and extended time for this interview. This is Dr. Charles McClelland. He is the commissioner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And you heard it here first in terms of that tremendous news, among other things. I want to say again, thank you for your time. Look forward to the next time we get to talk and chop it up a little more. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you.
No problem. This is Dr. Bill inside HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington, Charles Bishop out on assignment. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with a surprise guest to give you some more input and information in regards to the 2021 spring edition of the SWAC Football Championship game.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time-consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
We talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna love, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. As you know, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, they're out on assignment, so you got me going solo at it. But I have a good friend coming in, Tolly Carr, filling in some time for me and make sure you get the best of the greatest. This is Tolly Carr of HBCU Game Day. You know he brings it hot and heavy every time he shows up. With that, man, what are your thoughts? What's going on with you, Tolly?
Well, how did they leave you solo, Doc? What's up with that, man?
Man, it's a long story. We're gonna have to tell you that one off the camera. I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
All right. So look, we got a big one this weekend, right? How we are? Are we under 48 hours now? We're under 48.
Yeah, I think you're right. I just thought about that.
Yeah. So you want to go straight? You want to cut straight to it, man? You want to score?
Yeah, no, give me some filler, give me some back thought before you get it. And as you get into it, what are some of the news that you're hearing around the game? You break a lot of this news, and you certainly write great stories and content before we get into the score. Give me some setup. What are some of the things that you're looking up in this matchup? Obviously, we got the news in regards to Maynard signing an extension. That's out there. What other things are you looking for or hearing that the listeners of those lab lectures, as we like to talk about, what should they know?
Well, I think Maynard was the big storyline. There was the contract extension that was out there that was linking him to the Southern job. Obviously, that's not going to happen, and he denied that. But those are the type of the tentacles that look, when you say you want the exposure, when you say you want to be on the top, like that comes with it. Like there's more light shining on you, and we get to see some of the, I don't want to say imperfections, but we get to peel back a lot of those layers, man, and people are interested. And I've enjoyed the content online, man, what people have had to say on all the different social media platforms. It's really, I would say this weekend is really putting a ribbon or, tying the bow on what was a successful SWAC spring football season, despite all the challenges that came with COVID and all the protocols and missing games. But if you look at where the SWAC is right now, with the popularity index, and I know we don't have an official analytical tool that we can measure this, a one-stop shop there, but if you look at where the SWAC is now compared to a year ago, and it was in a great place a year ago, but now, man, the excitement that we had with spring, I was thinking today when I looked at the players of the year, Doc, we hadn't even talked about Felix Harper, man. The Alcorn State. Imagine that. We're gonna have two players when we kick off this fall that are going to have both have claim as being the defending players of the year the last time they played. So I really hope that this weekend will really be the coup de grace for what was a great SWAC spring, despite all the challenges. And one thing that really stood out to me was the emergence of Doc Gamble and his personality. Man, he's a different type dude, man. He gets a little superstitious, man. He really, was talking about, look, the last time we played in Jackson, I ain't like it. I don't know how I feel about going back to Jackson. He opened up about, he likes to reinvent the wheel, and he'll be in the coach's room sometimes, and they got to tell him, all right, Doc, we're doing too much, man. We're doing too much. So he was a guy that, at least me personally, I didn't know a whole lot about entering the season. UAPB's kind of been a rotating wheel, the last couple of years there. So he being the coach of the year and really being able to share his personality with the media and the fans this spring was really, really cool. So it's been a great ride, man. I'm looking forward to the game on Saturday.
No doubt about it. And we'll bring you back as we'll do a way too early prediction of 2021 and what to look at. But with that, time has come. Everybody wants to know your thoughts. Tolly, Carr. Usually you get to give everybody the news. This time you get to come on my side of it, and I get to pick at you a little bit. And so now everybody's going to get to rub you or whatever, because one way you're going to be right, but one way you're going to be wrong. So without further ado, everybody wants to know who you say is going to find a way to get it done. And even more so, what's your score?
You have discovered my trick. The way I survive in this game is I never give my opinion. I always ask other people what they think.
I learned that. I appreciate it. You taught me well.
I throw the stones and then I hide my hands, man, and I just stand on the corner. But I think the Alabama A&M offense has been the most impressive offensive team in the SWAC this spring. I think their resilience, man, it looked like at the beginning of the year they might have to cancel their season because everybody else was canceling on them week to week. It didn't seem like they would even get a game in, but their ability to bounce back after not knowing from week to week if they were going to play, I give them an edge. Doc, I really see them putting up 31 points. I think they'll get 4 touchdowns and a field goal. I think that UAPB is going to put up a good fight, but I'm going to give it to Alabama A&M 31-24 in Jackson on Saturday.
You heard it right here first. Those are the scores you've been giving them. Keep it going. And look for us on Sunday to give you a little sneak peek about the game afterwards. And then we're going to find a way to do that way too early and sneak in some talk for fall 2021. We got to keep it going. So stick with us. But that'll do it for us today. I appreciate you jumping in here with us, Tolly Carr. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, with the lab listeners out there taking on the lecture. We appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed our interview with the Commissioner, Dr. Charles McClelland. We had Isaiah Thornton, our intern, come in here and give you some information. And now we have Tolly Carr. With that, before I give you the final adieu, as I promised, we're going to bring Roy. Roy, jump on here and give us your score. You can't hide from everybody. We need you to jump on here. You got to get from behind the screen now, and you got to show up a little bit. I didn't pull it out of Tolly. Now I got you in here. Tell us your final score. Who's going to get it done, this final thing? Because next year, it really gets fun because now you got to be quiet while your rattlers playing in it. But I want to know now. Pine Bluff, Alabama A&M. Who you got?
Well, first I'm going to say, yeah, Tolly, I was trying to be like you. I thought I had gotten away with this one. I was able to get out. I actually think a lot like Tolly does. I think it's going to be more of a defensive struggle. But that Alabama, that Akil Glass, I think he's going to be very special in this game. I think he is going to shine at a level that is going to make NFL people be like, okay, we really have to pay attention to this kid next year when he's coming back. So of course, Alabama A&M is who I'm picking. I think besides Akil, Coach Maynard he's a special kind of coach, and I'm sure these kids will run through a brick wall for him. And so with that said, I think Akil and them gonna put up 5 touchdowns, and so I'm looking at 35 to 21. I think it's going to be a 35-21 victory. I think that UAPB is doing some great things. I just think the machine that is Alabama A&M right now is what it is. It's a machine. So
y'all heard it. Everybody's going with the Bulldogs. We had a couple of people pick the Golden Lion. So somebody's going to look like a genius and somebody's not. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. I really appreciate Tolly Carr, HBCU Game Day. Check him out. You know it by now, but we're going to do courtesy YouTube. You need to check him out. Check out the website, HBCU Game Day. Roy Evans, the founder of Black College Sports Network. Download the app. Support these guys. They're doing it real big, and they're doing it for you, finding a way to get it done. So go check out the website. Check out Facebook of these guys and keep them knowing. And make sure you share the information with all your friends that think they talk about HBCU sports. Tell them if you hadn't listened to these guys and got your information here, you don't know HBCU sports, and tell them to be quiet. With that, again, thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock Central Time. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DrKenyattCavil, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Facebook, and that's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1, and YouTube, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. With that, Roy, go ahead. What you got?
One more quick thing. History is happening right now. We are in Montgomery, Alabama. For the first time since 1954, there will be a Black college baseball national champion crowned. Russ College has been the first to be eliminated. We've got a few more games that are going on. It's looking great. Check it out. You can go to mybcsn.net. You can go to blackcollege9s.com. It's on Facebook. Check out the games. These kids are playing their hearts out, and it's on the field, so you can watch these baseball games. You got games tonight, another one tonight, and then 2 or 3 more tomorrow, and then the championship on Saturday. But the Black College World Series, Division II and NAIA schools are competing to win that national championship.
Big deal. I'm glad you got that in. Big deal. Dream big and continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Tolly?
Lecture dismissed.
Course.
Lecture dismissed.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man.